Now, speaking of patterns and drum kits, you have to notice that what you see here, which is initially Adidas and Brooklyn and Kiwa, whatever, these are not the names of the drum kits. These are the names of the patterns. I know it will be confusing in the beginning, but yes, we have a drum kit set here, but also we have a pattern set here, and Adidas is the name of the pattern. If you think that I'm talking bullshit and if you want to check it yourself, the only thing that you need to do is press the drum set button, which will show you the actual name of the drum set. Yes, right now Adidas is the name of the drum set, which is DRM000. Now you can switch the drum sets and you will see totally different names, because the second name is not Brooklyn, as you said. Brooklyn was the name of the pattern, and right now Afro is the name of the drum set. So to go back into the pattern mode, you need to press the drum set button again. As you can see, we have indication here. Right now we are into the pattern mode. Right now we are not. We are selecting the drum set right now. Okay, speaking of the drum set or drum kit, whatever you want to call it, we have a lot here. So first is the Adidas. Speaking of names, you will notice that some of the names, if you are really into hip-hop culture, some of the names would be really meaningful to you. So Adidas, aside from being the name of the brand Adidas, we just changed Z in the end to avoid copyright issues. Adidas is also very famous song from Run DMC called My Adidas. So you will notice that whatever is chosen here, I mean the sounds from the drum set sound really alike with the corresponding things that they represent. For example, if you are really into hip-hop culture, especially if you are into breaking, you will notice something very common here. So drum kit number 6 is called Beat Street. So no need to mention what is Beat Street about if you're really into hip-hop culture, because there are few movies that every hip-hopper must know, and Beat Street is one of them. And by the way, the sounds from this drum kit really reminds me of the Beat Street movie. And so on. So you can check the different drum kits. You have some electronic also. Personally, my favorite, I like the snare here, but there is one called Fat Laces. Fat Laces, yeah, here it is, Fat Laces. So Fat Laces is one of my favorite. And Chainsaw or something like this. There was another. Okay, I will not look for it right now. So let's say that you want to quickly test drive Akai XR20 and we are into pattern mode, and you just want to try the built-in patterns. So what you can do, basically you switch patterns from the jog dial like this. This is the pattern number and pattern name. You can also switch from here, which is the same like the jog dial, and this is quick access. So if you know the number of the pattern, for example, I know that I want to switch to pattern number 5, and I'm playing pattern number 0 right now. I just need to dial 0 and oops, yes, you need to be quick. So I need to dial 05, and I'm quickly going to the 5th pattern. So speaking of which, now if you're playing, you cannot go directly into the other pattern. XR20 will always wait for the pattern to finish before it switches to the other pattern. Here's how. Of course, if you really want to break the pattern, you can do this. So let's play and let's show how. Now I want to switch to another pattern. I want to switch back to pattern 0, but I want to switch immediately. So as you saw, when you play with the next page button, you directly break the currently playing pattern and you go immediately to the next pattern. And while we play, you can retrieve the current pattern, which is playing from the very beginning of the pattern with the page left button. Okay, that was demonstration of the retrieve function. Now let me switch on the light because it became a little bit darker here. But it's really cool when you look XR20 in the dark. Now I will switch the lights on because I need to show you what I'm pressing. Okay. That was enough for a quick test drive. So you can go to the nearest music store and you can try XR20 yourself for a quick test drive if they have it on stock and if they have it on display. Now, how you can interfere with the performance. Let's say that you want to have part of your pattern playing and you want to trick additional sounds. Simply the pads are not disabled when you play, so when you have a pattern playing you can press any pad and have any sound invoked. something that you probably noticed when I was switching the patterns is that we have one pattern with 100 BPM set, another is in 88, another is with 90 BPM, and when you are switching patterns they are switching the BPM, and so you have every pattern with different tempo playing. Well, this is something that you can override. You can set in the settings that you want to override the tempo of the patterns, so you set initial one tempo and all patterns that you switch will play with the currently set tempo. But I personally prefer it that way when I save my patterns, to always set them with the tempo that I like mostly for this pattern, because it gives the pattern a certain individuality. So now let's take a look at these buttons. So this is pretty straightforward. These two, so important are these two here. So system setup is the setup of the machine itself. So when we press here, and initially you will be on this screen here. So you change the screens with the pages, and you edit the values with the jog dial or the increment and decrement buttons. I will not discuss the settings here. Important to mention is the record setup. So you can exit from the system setup simply by pressing the system setup again. Now, record setup. Before you record whatever pattern, you first go into the record setup and do your record settings. So here, except the quantizer setting, we have additional important settings. Now, what is the swing? If you're a drummer, you know what I'm talking about. So what it will do is that it will delay, a really short delay that you will not notice, but the result is that the melody will sound much more playful and more like it's played from a real drummer. Now this is de facto the metronome setup. You have set how the metronome will click and the click volume. You have, yes, so XR20 pads are velocity sensitive, but you will not notice it really. So you need to set this to soft in order to get it. I personally like it on the loud because I'm not good with the pads, so it doesn't matter if I will hit the pad soft or hard. I don't want to hear much difference. If I want difference in the volume, I set this additionally for every part. Okay. Now the pattern length, you change it from here. This is the name of the pattern. So here with I cannot rename this pattern because it's a preset pattern, as you can see here, but usually with these two keys and the jog dial or these two, you go from character to character and you have the first line that you can set with the name that you like. Okay, so much for the recording. When you're done with the changes, you press the record button to save it. Now let's exit. So about these keys, as I said, the first three change the layer that you're using. It could be drums, one shot, or synthesizer. The second three are with different functions. So this, as I said, change from pattern to drum kit mode, where you can select different drum kit. Effects, this invoke the effects menu. So XR20 have different kind of effects, basically a reverb and set of effects that you can set. These are the equalizer and compressor. So basically what you can do is set the amount of reverberation and flavor, and set the amount and flavor of the compressor and EQ. Okay, then we have preset and user. So here is when, so let's exit here. Okay, so this is the button that changes between preset and user patterns. Okay, that was not a good name. So okay, so these are patterns that I created. Currently I created, this is an empty one, so I have 24 patterns created on the drum machine. And you change between preset and user patterns with this button. Here you change between pattern mode and song mode. As I told you, here you have indicators on which mode are you. And finally, pattern play mode. So in pattern play mode, normally when you press a pad, it will play a single pattern. It will play a single sound, a single sample. When you engage the pattern play mode, each of the pads will play an entire pattern. You can set exactly which patterns they will play in the settings. I will not show this right now. By the way, there are users who did pretty good demonstrations of this. What I will try to show you here is some things that they didn't show.